All right, guys, I'm back. This will be our third video dropped today. So you've seen me a lot today. I get it. But DC Comics has done something else to shake up the comic book industry. There's a lot of shakeups going on. Very interesting. It started off, COVID, big publishers like Boom going to Kickstarter. Then we saw all of the crazy distribution changes. Now we're starting to see, Marvel dive a little bit into manga with the Deadpool manga, and Batman's done it previously, things like that. So, okay, maybe. And then Substack starts kicking off with the biggest comic creators in the industry going to Substack, leaving their exclusive DC Comics deals and things like that. So, very, 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 very interesting. Okay. And now we see DC Comics announcing a partnership with Webtoons. Now, Webtoons started back in the early 2000s, and it came over to the U.S. in 2014, and, it was the true indie comics at the time, right? Webtoons. It's, if you're not familiar with it, we'll look at it a little bit later. I'm not super familiar with it, but I do understand a little bit about the history and things like that. And now we're seeing DC Comics announcing a partnership. At one point in time, Webtoons would have been looked at as the place to go if you're a failure, or maybe, just not good enough to be DC or Marvel or whatever. And now DC Comics is signing a deal to, partake in their 75 million, customer reach, whatever you want to call it. But there's 75 million folks that use Webtoons. Holy cow. That is insane. So we're seeing, again, another kick up in the dust of the comic book world in this attempt to go digital. We know Jim Lee came out earlier this year, like last week, and said DC Comics is fine. We're not going anywhere. We're going to continue to publish comics, and now we're seeing Webtoons. So let's dive into the article, see what it's about. I'll give you guys my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. But this is very, very interesting in the wake of Substack and now Webtoons. Just, I don't know, guys. I don't know what's happening with comic books, but it seems like DC and Marvel and these creators and things like that, they're trying to somehow turn into that independent lifestyle. And Marvel and DC just, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to accomplish that. But let's jump into the article and see what it's all about. So August 17th, that is today, DC Comics pins a deal to work with Webtoon. So basically, in the coming weeks, I'm so happy Webtoon is able to work with DC on bringing unique stories to the platform. Webtoon is a great bridge to a huge worldwide audience of young comic fans, and DC is home to some of the greatest superhero stories on the planet. The potential to express famous IP through our platform, which is mobile native and focused on ease of access, is super exciting. Okay. And then coming from a DC general manager, it says DC is excited to introduce our iconic characters to a new generation of fans worldwide. We've been working closely with Webtoon writers and artists to adapt our characters and stories to Webtoon's mobile format. Our shared goal is to create fun and compelling DC stories with all readers. Partnership is yet another example of DC's ambition to meet fans wherever they are. So, there's been talks a lot about manga versus comic books, things like that. I'm not going to go into that, but, it's no secret that manga has been outselling every comic book there is, except for maybe the King Spawn book that sold 500,000 copies, and Berserker, which, sold a little over 600,000, something like that. Again, independent comics there. But Webtoons, man, that's crazy. I mean, think about that. DC Comics, one of the big two, taking itself down to Webtoon. And I don't mean down in a derogatory way, but DC Comics, Webtoons. So that's just, man, very, very interesting. And again, it's a mobile platform site. So we'll take a look at it here on the computer, and then I will do a screen share of my phone and walk through some of that stuff. And then, not to mention, but DC Comics is pushing the mobile digital platform through Webtoons, but they also have their own digital platform of the Infinite app. They just did a huge relaunch on that, and I'm curious to know if maybe that hasn't been as successful as they hoped, and maybe that's why they're pursuing the Webtoon platform. But all that to say, let's jump into the Webtoon here and see what it is. So Webtoons, you're going to see it looks a lot of similar type things, similar to like manga and things of that nature. So it's very intriguing. And I've only been on here a few times, not a lot to be honest with you guys, but this is essentially Webtoons. And we'll just, we'll click on one that maybe hopefully is nothing bad in it. Maybe we'll go to genres, go to action, hardcore leveling warrior, see how that is. So this is kind of how it's presented. We'll go all the way maybe to page 10. Maybe that gets, whatever. We'll just click on one. All right, so here it is, and it's like an infinite scroll. Okay, so this is how Webtoons are presented. I'm assuming it's going to be very similar to the phone, and if it looks different on my phone, I probably won't even show it. But basically, this is Webtoons. And guess what this looks a lot like? Substack. Looks a lot like Substack. So Substack is just a scrolling news feed, basically. But if they were to present their comic books in this platform, the same thing as a news feed, this is basically how it's going to look, I'm thinking. So what do you guys think? I mean, could you sit and read comic books on your phone like this? So what I want to do is I want to go ahead and jump over to my phone just so we can kind of see what the experience is like there. Obviously, desktop's going to be slightly different. But again, I think this is kind of what Substack is trying to push for, something similar to the Webtoons platform. But could you imagine reading Batman or Superman or something like that on this? You know, they're probably going to bring stories similar to the, I'm Not Starfire, whatever that mess was earlier this year. Those are the type of stories, because I know they really want to push young adult novels to this platform as well. So I'm thinking maybe that's what it's going to be. But without a doubt, I think we're going to see Batman and Superman here. But let's jump over to the phone, see what it looks like, and then we'll talk about it at the end. All right, so we have the phone here, and let's just take a look, see what it's all about on the Webtoon platform. I'm going to put up my screen here while I scroll through. So you essentially download it like any other app, no big deal. And this is kind of what it looks like. You have your new here at the top, so that's pretty cool. Top series, top drama, so that looks pretty cool. They break it down by different things. Even has specific questions, so if you want to find your favorite series. And new originals, completed series. Very interesting. So I will say this platform looks like, honestly, a lot better than the DC Comics app or even the Marvel app, especially if you're new. I don't feel lost on here at all. And then at the bottom, it has the originals. So that's pretty neat. And I guess a schedule there at the top. Canvas. I don't know what Canvas is, but I guess another piece to the puzzle there. And then, of course, where you keep everything. This does feel a little bit similar to the Shonen Jump app. But let's check out one of the top ones. Reclaim Your Glory. We'll click on that. 11 episodes. Fast pass to 5 episodes. I don't know what that means, but we'll just click one. Okay. And here we go. So it's just an infinite scroll. I won't lie, this is actually kind of neat. Yeah, that is actually way cooler on your cell phone. I like that a lot, actually. So the experience is kind of, as you're scrolling, you're getting your images, you're getting your panels, a little bit of text. I actually like this quite a bit. The artwork is really cool on this one too. Again, I don't remember the title, but pretty neat. What do you guys think about this? After looking at it online, after looking at it through a cell phone, what do you guys think? Could you read your Batman comic books? Could you read your Superman comic books? Could you do that? And I'm fairly certain they're going to be taking some of their, from what it sounded like in the release, taking their creators from Webtoons and some of the best creators and things like that. So you're probably going to have a much different art style than what you might see here and adapting it there. So, I mean, it's pretty interesting. We'll see, but it just makes you wonder kind of what's going on with DC. You know, I know they're trying to stay relevant, stay up with the times and things like that. Who knows? Is DC Comics in trouble? Is Marvel in trouble? It seems like independent comics are selling like crazy right now, and I don't know. I'm intrigued, but if it looks like that, I'm probably all on board. It's pretty dang neat to me. I'm already a fairly big fan of digital comics. Paper copies will always be my favorite, but to buy a series, read it digitally, maybe it's something I'm slightly interested in or want to go back and read something from the early 2000s or 90s or 80s, digital has been fantastic for me. And that's why I read a lot of manga as well. Guys, let me know what you think. This has been very interesting. I didn't think I was going to wake up today or get home today and see this news, but it's pretty interesting. DC Comics and Webtoons. Smash the like, tell a couple of people about our channel. Guys, you're the best part of Tubular Comics, and as always, collect your way.